good friend and alumni coordinator, community development officer, Henry Carter.
Good evening, guys. So I wanted to take a moment before I introduce our guest speaker and just recognize all of our alumni that are here today. If you will, please stand. In general, Mr. Greg Putnam, he is the first alum that is on our Board of Trustees, so that is an awesome accomplishment there. I would also like to recognize Durante Ram for being in the U.S. military. He is serving our country as we speak. Well, today I have the privilege of introducing our guest speaker. Mr. J.J. Wilson was a resident at Patrick Henry from March 1996 to May 1999. He's been recognized many times for his service to his community through his work in healthcare. He resides in Bedford, in the Bedford community with his wife Elizabeth. The list of awards goes on and on. He has been awarded several awards, starting with the Rookie of the Year in 1999. When he left us in 99, he achieved that immediately after leaving. He's achieved other awards such as Top Call Runner of the Year. He's also been the Top 3 Call Runner of the Year for 3 years, for 3 different years. He's also been awarded as a crew member in 2004, and also the Caller of the Year as well. And again, in my opinion, he is a true example of what we would hope every resident here will become. A great man of God, a servant to others, and a man that is well respected in his community and dedicated to his spouse. Please give a warm welcome to one of our alumni and an example of who we should strive to be like as a member of Patrick Henry, Mr. J. Wilson, Jr., please.
Some embarrassing stories, but I'm glad to see that he didn't. Before I get started, I just want to say that you guys look great. I'm really impressed with how well you look. I mean, evidently, when I was here, we didn't get your clothes. None of my clothes fit. My shoes are always too small. But you guys looking really good. As Henry said, I was here from 96 to 99, and the truth of the matter is I hated every moment of it, and I was glad to leave. But looking back, some of the best times that I've had in my life were had right here at Patrick Henry. As a matter of fact, a lot of them were had in this gym. I came to Patrick Henry at the age of 14. I had a very hard home life. My father was abusive. My mother was suffering with cancer, so there wasn't a lot she could do to stop my father from doing the things that he was doing. And I was a bad kid. Had been in and out of juvenile detention centers. And as a last resort, my family had heard about Patrick Henry, and I applied and almost didn't get in simply because I had a juvenile record and had been locked up on multiple occasions. But it was the grace of God that I was accepted into this program at that time. And shortly after I arrived here, maybe 6 months after arriving here, my mother passed of cancer. So needless to say, I was very unhappy. I didn't want to come here to begin with, and then to be here surrounded by people that I didn't know and didn't want to be around. I made everyone's life as difficult as possible. Most notably, my house parents, Mr. and Ms. Caskey, who are still here 16 years later. Everything I could to make everyone miserable, and I succeeded a lot of the time. I left Patrick Henry at the age of 18, and when I left, turned 18, I was actually just getting ready to be a senior. I wanted to get out of here so bad that I dropped out of school. I said, I'm not even staying for my last year. I'm 18, there's nothing you can do about it. So I left and I swore that I would never come back to Patrick Henry for anything. And here I am. I also said that I would do whatever I wanted to do and I would not go to church because I hated having to go to church every Sunday. So many of you can probably relate to these stories. I also hated coming to these events and having to wear a sports coat. I thought about wearing one today, but I said, no, I'm not. Over the last 15 years or so, I've had a lot of ups and I've had a lot of downs. I'm very excited to say that I'm working in healthcare, which was always a dream of mine. When I was here at Patrick Henry, anytime I saw a fire truck or an ambulance, I just knew that that's what I wanted to do and I wanted to be on it. And coming right out of Patrick Henry, I was able to join a volunteer fire department, and for 6 years operated as a volunteer firefighter. Then went on to become an EMT, and today I'm still an EMT. I'm a lieutenant. I work for Korean in Bedford. As I look back over my life up until this point, I've made a lot of mistakes, a tremendous amount of mistakes, starting from my childhood, not wanting to listen to anyone. Even today, still make mistakes. But most importantly, I think I've come to realize that despite any mistakes that I may have made, and I've made a lot, I'm not even going to share some of them with you, you can become a success in life. From dropping out of high school and leaving, which was a poor decision, but at the time it seemed like a great one, to getting numerous jobs. I really struggled with authority and having people tell me what to do. So from the time I left Patrick Henry, I probably got fired about 10 times from various jobs, and that's not an exaggeration. I left Patrick Henry with the thought that no one was going to tell me what to do, and I ended up moving in with Russ and Ruby and living with them. And here I am grown, and they're still telling me what to do. I cannot believe this. So I went through a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but eventually I found myself relying on many of the principles that had been instilled in me and that I learned here at Patrick Henry. Though at the time, I wasn't even paying attention, and I didn't think that anything was getting through. But I found myself relying on different messages that I'd heard from various house parents over the years and different messages that I'd heard at church. And I went back to church. I started going back to church. I started listening to people. And I was in my mid-20s at this point. I realized that I needed to go to college, so I started taking some college courses. Long story short, I met my wife Libby at church. We got married, moved to Bedford. Stayed in contact with the Caskies. I had to apologize to Miss Caskey on numerous occasions for the things that I had done. Speaking of Miss Caskey, what impressed me most about her is that she was not scared of me. Every other house parent was scared of me. I was this size when I was here, and I was very mean, and I had a potty mouth also. And a lot of the house mothers would have no dealings with me, and Miss Caskey used to get in my chest. She'd come up right here and look up at me and tell me what I was going to do. And I did not find out until years later that she too was terrified. But she never let me know that, and so I had a tremendous amount of respect for her because she was the only one that wasn't scared of me. It's a tremendous honor for me to be standing here today speaking before you. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I can stand up here and talk all day, but I've been told that people want to leave at a decent hour, so I'm going to wrap this up. But before I leave, I just want to say a special thank you to Mr. and Ms. Caskey for believing in me, for loving me, and for continuously pouring out your heart and accepting me into your family and into your life as though I was one of your own children. Even after I left Patrick Henry, Russ and Ruby have done a tremendous amount for me. I got my first vehicle because of them. As I said, I lived with them for a number of years, and we won't even talk about the amount of money that they spent on me, not that I haven't paid. So I want to thank you guys for everything that you've done for me. To the residents, I just want to encourage you to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you at this time. For some of you, this may be a miserable time in life. You may be like me or looking forward to the day that you turn 18 so that you can leave here. And I'm not even going to try to tell you that that's a bad idea. But what I will tell you is for the time you're here, whether it's several weeks more, several months more, or several years more, take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you. listen to the people who are caring for you and loving you. No one here is going to intentionally try to lead you in the wrong direction. I know some of your house parents may think that they're stupid, but I promise they're not. At least that's what I thought of mine when I was here. And finally, to the house parents, I would say to continue to love your residents, continue to pour your hearts out into them, continue to pray for them. Even if they don't listen to you, even if they drive you crazy, continue to love them. I had a house parent, Mr. Lakey, who dragged me by the ear from Stevens Cottage over to the administrative office, and he told Mr. Mahan, who was the director at the time, either he leaves or I quit. Needless to say, they transferred me to a different cottage, and they didn't kick me out. But I just encourage you to continue to love your residents, and I want to thank all the donors and the board of trustees and administrative staff and the people who help this place function and run. Thank you for everything you're doing. You're making a difference in people's lives. The time I was here, I didn't think anyone was making a difference in my life. But the reality is, if I was not at Patrick Henry, right now I'm positive that I would be in jail. And I would never have become an EMT. I was recently honored this past March by the American Red Cross with the Heroes Award for saving a man's life at a race with CPR. It's just a number of tremendous opportunities that I've had over the years, and they all started here at Patrick Henry. So use your time here, use it as a launch pad so that you can step out into the world and do whatever it is that you want to do. And in closing, just remember that no matter what mistakes you've made in the past, or even the mistakes that you may be making presently, they will not hinder you or stop you from achieving whatever it is that you want to achieve in life. Thank you.